What up, what up? Zach Bradshaw, the long-winded guy here. Back with my second trading journal. Obviously, I'm no great trader, but I need to record this stuff. If you watch the first one, then you understand what's going on here. So right now, crypto's doing this weird thing where I won't say it's that weird, but it's making a lot of moves like in the middle of the night or early morning, Eastern Standard Time. And so for me, I don't, I'm like the account is so small that I don't care to like really set stop losses and sit here and manage this and like be a really active trader. So I like to take, if something's going to move 12%, I'm happy with 7% of that, or even 5 or 3% if it's just something where I see that I can get the trade. I'm not trying to trade all the time, but I'm trying to stay active enough that I'm incentivized to look and can gain experience that builds on itself, as opposed to coming back to it 2 months later and being like, wait, how do I use this tool? What's going on here? Those type of things. So right now, Binance was just hacked a couple of hours ago, and I think that was part of this action. Or I don't know when they were hacked. Maybe it was last night. I really have no idea, but I think it was responsible for this action. I'm not sure. But when Bitfinex and the Tether news came out a little while ago, Bitcoin was, trailing up, and then it saw this big drop. And I just want to get away from that big drop. How I have things set up right now. You can see if I come to the daily chart. You can see that I have a sell limit up here, and I've already cashed out some of my position that I was talking about in my last video. I think or like 59.50 or something like that. I'm not sure which one of these spikes. I think it was really on, no, it must have been on the second one then. Oh, this is a daily chart. So it was somewhere in here that I was able to cash out. It was pretty high along this line. How high did it actually go? I don't think it was that high then. I think I must have been at like 905 because I'm thinking fives, but it was 59 something that I was able to get out of my position the rest of my position that I had at 53.50, and then part of the position that I got lower than that. And I don't want to miss really any of the moves, and it's more important for me to lock in my gains as opposed to, I think it's probably going to go up to 62 if you look at my chart here that I draw on. That it's going to look crazy to y'all because I have so many lines on it, but I know what's going on here. And I noticed that things were going at first along this bottom, and they were kind of on this angle. And I kind of have this idea because I also follow Hyperwave. And they talk about when a hyperwave forms that things come in at one angle and then they move up to the next angle and then they move up to the next angle. I haven't gone through their training. I'm sure not an expert on hyperwave, but what I noticed is that at first along this bottom here, it seemed like Bitcoin was going along this this set of trend lines. And then at some point the angle of those changed, and you could see that I started drawing these angles probably around this bottom right here, and because it changed, right? And so I'm looking to see, or maybe it was along a breakout, something like that. And from this bottom one, I've made all these extra ones. So you see, as they come in, some of them even line up to points back here, and that's kind of like me just doing arbitrary stuff that I don't know whether it's going to have any effect. But I very often notice that you'll have a trend line in here that, even going back to this one, like these end up touching on this crazy low down here. There's probably some other levels to that. If I were to make a couple of higher ones that might come along this line, right? And so I'm interested to see that, and I kind of just draw all these lines on the chart at one time and then go to like that blank view you just saw whenever I feel the need to, and draw my own trend, new trend line. So for right now, I have a feeling that the price is going to come up to somewhere around here and then bounce down, but I'm not sure of that. So really, I'm just going to get out of not all of this right here, but I'm going to take another bit of profit at a little bit lower than I took the other day, even though I think things may still go up here, just because there could also be a pullback. And if there's a pullback, then I would expect this trend, this blue like parallel, to break again. Like this is a line that I originally drew on this first run up here, and I did it on the hourly chart, but this was basically the angle that this was going up at along the bottoms, and once that broke, I was thinking, oh, there will be some consolidation because this is like the angle that these things are going up, and that's pretty much what happened. Once we got one close below it, and then after that there was no chance of closing above it pretty much, as far as this candle goes. And then from there it took a while, but again we got a we touched along the bottom, and then we basically are along a similar angle that I was like, man, is that the same angle? And so I just duplicated this line, and moved it out, and then I drew this yesterday, and I wanted to make a video about this, but again I was having mic issues. So I drew this line out yesterday, and you see that today it's still closed above it, or yesterday it closed above it. And then this is kind of the zone that I'm thinking, looking back at all this historical support, I mean, it may go up to 62, but I'm perfectly happy with taking my profits at this level here. And you see I have a little green thing that after I drew it, it ended up coming up and touching it yesterday, and then falling out. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of profit here and just keep some of my position in case it goes up to, up here in the 60s area. And then I will, depending on the shape of this and how it looks and whatever else, I will decide whether I want to potentially rebuy at 66 or at 56, or whether I want this to be my stop price on the rest of my position. Really just based on how things move. Because it's Binance news, I don't think it's circled around everywhere yet. Kind of like the Bitfinex news, like took a minute to like circulate around, and it was probably this red candle was the first day of it. The news was probably out here, and then the news was digested here. And I expect maybe the same thing, and if it does, I would really anticipate it potentially even dropping down to this level, or maybe I need to clone this and find some other level in here that may end up playing a part, and that seems like maybe this would be the one. But it's clearly been going through this whole range here, right? So there's a chance that it could do that, but if it does, it very well may drop through, or it may start to form a head and shoulders like I was talking about yesterday. It could have formed a head and shoulders around here, but maybe now there's a head and shoulders that might form somewhere in this area. Now I expect lots of these lines to hold, on this daily here, and we're above this 314, which for me is a significant long-term moving average. We've had this, what they call a golden cross. This is the 50-day and the 200-day moving averages going back bullish. There's still a ways to go in the way that I think about it. Again, with I like for all of these to line up. So my 100-day and my 144-day are still out of place. And so I would like for those to get better lined up and look more like the rainbow. And then obviously this 314 is still above everything else, right? It needs to really be below this orange line, and there's really no sign of it really dropping quickly, and it would really, this 200-day needs to go up, and in order for that to happen, really enough of these periods have to pass so that this price action, all of this below here, goes away, and that's not happening anytime soon. If you see here, the way that these work, and I never see anybody talk about this when it comes to moving averages, when you click on one of these lines here, this measures in 10, because I'm on the daily chart, this is measuring in 10 increment things. So you're able to look at your moving averages and say, so like, here's my 50-day moving average. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So I can anticipate that in about 7 days, this moving average is going to jump, like the angle of it increasing is going to go much faster, right? As long as it stays up here, because these days are going to go out of the average. And this is part of the reason that I use these simple moving averages. With the exponential moving averages, already weighting this stuff heavier, the most recent stuff heavier, and I don't want it to do that. I want to be able to look at this and see, okay, that 1, 2, 3, and it's really because there's already 2 periods here. Let's see where this one lines up. So we're already on the 2nd day past this one, so this is really 52 if I go back to the 5th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, maybe it's more than I thought. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So really it's in about 17 days or 18 days that this price action, and let me just draw a little thing around it, that this price action here is going to get out of the average, right? Let me change the color on that. Awful color choice. Let's just do gray. So we don't have to. All right, so this price action, which is covered up, Whoa. My B. If you're watching this video, I'm sorry. Um, so this price action that we have in here is going to disappear from this average within like the next 17 days, within the blue line, right? But for example, this green line, which is 100 days, is going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is 100 days back. So I can tell that within 1, 2, like, just after this point. So in another 20 days, this 100 average is also going to go up significantly because this bit of price action that is all below this is going to go away. And then another 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 periods after that. So 70 days for the green line. It is going to increase this angle that it's going up, and meaning it will be higher than what it is now, like significantly higher, unless this price falls and is able to provide more averages down here in this lower zone. But then when it comes to like the 200-day, it's still got info from up here, and this 314 period moving average is still probably got price action all the way back to here because I need to count 31 periods back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So this is, well, let's go 31. So in the 314 days moving average, it's including price action that is over 8,000, right? It's including all this price action, and a good almost half of it is above 6,000. So that is part of why this is so much higher. But eventually, over half of a year, this bit of the price action is going to be gone from this moving average. And so this moving average is probably going to be lower unless the price action that replaces this is now higher than this, right? If from here on out we trade above this level and potentially come up here to 8,000, then this will see less change. But if we get rejected right here and go back down and play around in these levels for 6 months or more, 200 days and some change, then this red moving average will get much lower and give the other moving averages, the shorter term moving averages, more opportunity to get above them. For this to be like a full bull trend for me, again, all of these need to get lined up. And so this has such a shorter memory in it that it's really easy for it to go up and down. It can get almost rejected by this even. If this were to fall back down now, this 50-day moving average may not even ever touch, might not even get to the same level as 314 days back, which would mean that this is, like how Tone Base says it, this is a bull trap. And so I'm super skeptical of this action. It just seems like people have been hurting down here and everybody needed this, and so everybody's kind of jumping on it. But I don't expect it to last. If it were to get above 6,200 and start to make that area support, depending on how it did it, I might think that it was there. But if it never pulls back and has a like has to actually go down, like this is not a full pullback for me because it didn't lose any of this original move here. Now the move is larger, and I would need it to come, like if it came back down to this point now, well, it would have to do it. It'll have to do it in some time, right, for this to be a level that I would consider significant, for this to be a real bull trend, which is, something having some real price movement that goes up and then back down and then up. These don't really count for me except on the shorter time frames, right? If I'm looking at let's just go to the hourly. If I'm looking at the hourly time frame, then this does look like a lot more bullish of a move because it's going up and then it's breaking. We're getting closer breaking some of these lows, then coming back up and then pulling back and then going up some more. And so there's more opportunity to say that on a shorter time frame. But when you in contrast, look at the week. Oops. It hasn't stopped running yet at all, right? This is not a pullback. It's like none of these weeks even traded lower than the weeks before. So for me, it'd be important to see how it pulls back for me to say like, okay, it's going to keep going up. But for right now, I'm at a take profits level. I think lots of people are at a take profits level around 6,000s. And it could be that even some institutional investors that might have been getting in over the last year might really want to start to cash out, let things look like they're going up a little bit more, let some volume flow in, and then just break everybody's stops in half. And so I want to avoid that. I don't, it would suck if it went up to 8,000. I missed some of it, but if it were to do so, then I'm sure I could find another trade opportunity that I could potentially ride for that. In the meantime, I just want to protect, the percents I've gotten here, which are plenty for me, right? So I've had I started my trade down here, cashed out once. That was a nice 30% move. Then, oops, man, this thing just is not switching to immediately grab these. I need to change some settings. And then here, there's another 25%. No, I didn't get, my buy-ins weren't that low. My buy-ins probably average that. So there's an 18%, like, I'll take my 18%, 100% and 50%, or 100% and 50x and 1,000x is great. I don't know if I'm early enough in the crypto space to get that. I don't care. 18 is plenty, 24 is plenty, and even just a piece of the middle of those would have been plenty for me. Luckily, I was able to play them right. I don't know if that's even the right way to describe that. Again, I feel like I got lucky, but that's enough for this trading journal. Just wanted to go over where I'm at right now, and have it on the record, saying what I've done to this point and what I'm going to do next, so that when I come in the next time, or when I want to come back and look at these, I know what the heck is going on. If you see, errors I'm making, if you see things that I could clean up, if you have like any tips for me, if you just want to troll me, please do so. This is not really for anybody else, certainly not trading or investing advice at all, maybe to my little brother, you know what I mean? But other than that, like and subscribe if you want to. I don't know what else to say. Until next time, peace.